Hey guys, I hope you all had a great weekend. I wanted to drop by today to talk about the Nebraska farmers situation again. And I know a lot of us, with all of the videos we had been seeing around, or at least I had been seeing around, a lot of people were saying, Nebraska didn't care about Nebraska, and why are we supposed to care about Nebraska, and Nebraska didn't care about Nebraska? How could Nebraska do vote against um, their best interests by voting for mass deportation of their workforce? And I was saying, why would you purposely go to get rid of your workforce and not have a backup plan for the people that you're getting rid of, especially if your business is relying on that workforce? Your hatred can't be that blinding and that overwhelming that you can't think about your bottom line, especially when it comes to your businesses. Some of these farms have been in those people's home, have been in those people's families for over 300 years. You can't tell me you did not think about who is going to come in and replace these vital workers for your survival. One thing I do keep thinking back on is Trump kept saying during this campaign that the illegals were here stealing the blacks' jobs. He just kept harping on the black jobs, and everybody was like, what the hell is a black job? Well, this is just my perspective, or it's just my thought. I'm thinking that the Virginians and all the rest of the people who were depending on illegal immigrants for their labor, they kept hearing Trump saying that the black people jobs were being taken. I'm thinking in their minds, they were hearing Trump saying the black people are going to come back to those jobs. In my mind, I'm thinking they were hearing Trump says the black people are going to replace all those immigrants out in the fields and on the farms and all of that. I'm thinking that's what they were hearing. That's why they weren't messed up about voting to get rid of their illegal immigrants. They were thinking that the black people were going to step up and take those jobs back, because Trump kept saying these illegal immigrants are stealing the blacks' jobs. And therefore, in their mind, they heard we were getting our 1,800 slaves back. They had to have thought that their backup plan, Trump was going to miraculously, somehow, magically put all the black people back out in those fields, on those farms, and they were going to continue to get their work done. Now, that's just my thinking, because you cannot tell me that you as a business owner would get rid of your workforce and not have a backup plan. You are not going to knowingly and willingly walk into a bankruptcy, walk into losing your business, walk into losing your farms that have been in your family for 300 years unless you thought there was a backup plan. And the backup plan was supposed to be the blacks. That's why y'all ran out there and voted against your best interest, because when you heard Donald Trump said they were stealing the blacks' jobs, y'all in your twisted mind thought that the blacks were going to magically appear back in those positions. The blacks were just going to be coming from everywhere to take on those positions. You had to have thought that, because y'all not going to tell me that in your minds you were okay with losing your livelihoods, that you didn't have a backup plan to come in after the immigrants would be deported. You can't convince me that people who own those farms and worked on those farms, you cannot tell me that you looked out there and saw your workforce, and you know what your workforce is made up of, and you purposely went out there and said, yeah, get rid of all of them with no backup plan. You know what it takes to run your farms. You know how many people it takes to run your farms. There is no way you got rid of all of those people and did not expect to have somebody to come in and pick up the slack. Y'all thought y'all were getting slaves back. You had to have thought that. You had to have thought black people were going to be the ones replacing the immigrants, and you would not miss a beat. But when those immigrants fled and those fields became empty and those farms became deserted, then y'all want to run around crying, does anybody care about Nebraska? Does anybody care about Nebraska? No. Let's go back. What was your thought process as to when the immigrants go, when they deport them? What was your thought process on who was going to come in and pick up that slack? Because 60% of y'all went out there and voted for Trump. So what was that 60% thinking? What was your plan B for when the immigrants are gone? Who was going to come in, step in, and pick up that workload and get your bottom and keep your bottom line moving? What was that thought process? Who were the replacements for the illegal immigrants that you guys went and voted against? Who were the replacements? You guys thought it was going to be black people. Y'all thought Donald Trump was going to magically make black people appear in y'all farms and on y'all fields to get their work done. Why? I have no idea. Other than he kept saying that they were taking the black jobs. Y'all thought that just because he said that, black people were going to be running down there to them fields? It's absolutely bizarre. You can't convince me y'all put everything, your whole life, y'all whole livelihood, generations of farms being in y'all family. You can't tell me you put that up at risk and did not have a backup plan. You can't tell me y'all purposely destroyed y'all lives and y'all farms without having a backup plan to replace the illegals. It's just not making sense. But racism never has made sense. Guys, these are some really eye-opening times we're dealing with. And another thing I want to touch on before I leave today. President Musk is really working hard to get up under the black people's skin. He's trying to find a button to push to make us hit them streets. Now he wants the government to stop funding, to stop the lease for the Obama library. And he also wants the United States government to sell our National Black Museum, one of our National Black Museums. I think it was the Montgomery Boys bus. Something to do with that. I think that's what it was. So do you see what they're doing? When the threat to pardon Derek Chauvin did nothing, now they're going for other intricacies that they know black people hold near and dear, which is telling us they are going to keep nitpicking until they can think they can get us out there. No matter what they do, do not give them what they're looking for. I don't care what they do at this point, but it needs to be seen the extremes they're going to go to. That needs to be seen.